Welcome learners. In the last session, we started with the calculator app design. In this session, we intend to finish off the design, and over there, I'm going to teach to you how you can create common components into your app, and that too the text field to be common. When you look into any professionally designed app, let's say be it Uber or let's say be it any food ordering app, you'll notice that there is common design like buttons, input boxes, and even the background. Over here, we'll try to understand how to create a common input box so that you can put that across any screen and have the same UI UX. How to create it, what goes behind creating a common component will be detailed discussed in this session. So tune in. Let's dive into the session wherein I'm going to talk about displaying the UI for error fields. Imagine if this is the text form field, then below the text form field we are showing our error, enter, valid, input. Let's say we go over here and I'll change this to bit amount of red. Now what I would also want is this entire rectangle, the outline border for it also to turn to red. Well, in this case we have this decoration, and then if I were to show you my app, so here's my visor. Now upon the play, it starts screen sharing my actual device, and then if I try to click on the ad, what do you notice is the outline border just wiping off. In that case, what exactly are we missing upon is something called as error border. Well, the error border kind of resembles what should be the scenario when I'm trying to have an error. For now, I'll just keep the outer color to be red. And now, if I try to do a hot reload and click on the add button, you notice that the red color is being displayed. But what will happen if I tap inside of it? Did you notice again it went out? That's because we have the last attribute, focused error border. Well, when you get a tap event and the cursor starts to blink, over there it's actually a focus, and this time I have made it red color for the error as well as for the focus. So basically you can try playing along with all these outline borders and try to create your app user experience to be enhanced. Going forward, what I want to do is add something called as a hint text, and I'll say enter number 1. Upon hot reload, you get to see the hint appearing in gray color, and that's actually decent. Now going by the diagram, what I want to do is repeat this one more time, that's over here, so that when I click on my button, I can add the two variables and then display as an answer somewhere over here. So let me try now creating one more text form field. In fact, what I can quickly do is Control D over here, and when I do a hot reload, you get to see that there are two text form fields. I'll go over here, put enter number 2, and in fact even duplicate my number 1 controller to create number 2 controller. In this way, we will be now having two separate controllers for our text form field and then the UI changes to something like this. But wait, I can see these two components to stick to each other, and let me put an empty sized box. Let's say an empty box with a height of 20 pixels gets to show up here. Now when I tap on this, you get to see the errors, and in fact if I just have 1 2 3 4 5 6 and if I click on add, I can individually get the numbers from the respective controllers. Now, do you guys think that's going to be the correct way in which we should have done adding the two text form fields, or is it the chimpanzee coding way? Well, if you think it's a chimpanzee coding way, you're right. That's because look over here, the text form field remains same. In fact, the decoration item even remains same. Should we duplicate our code, or in fact have something as a common widget that can help us creating the text form field once but reusing it twice? Introducing to you my calculator input field that will exactly role play my input field and have the same functionalities that we have thought of, but this time in a way much more optimized way. So here I am taking the missing override. I'll pick one text form field, cut it over here and paste it here. Next, it tells me that it requires this number controller. What I'll try and do is in the constructor I will get the number controller. For example, I'm going to do right click over here, then click on generate constructor and then select this. Well, it's kind of a shortcut if you try remembering the shortcuts through the keyboard. Next, I'll mark this as required. Next, I'm going to convert this into a number controller and in fact try to keep the hint text for now to be same. So what do we do? Now I'm going to call my calculator input field and it will take in number one controller as one of the parameters in named parameters. Let me delete the text form field, copy this once again, paste it here, and this time change to number 2 controller. What do you notice? The text input field was requiring text editing controller. We already had two text editing controllers. What did I do is the text form field I kept to be common. The entire decoration remains to be common. What I am trying to do is in the name parameter just passing my text editing controller and doing a hot reload to verify if exactly that's what I'm looking for. Let's say I click on add, you get the entire thing to be read. So which basically means even the validations really work. What I'll try and do is in the print statement check if I'm able to getting the number 2 controller value. I'll do a hot reload, put in over here 1 2 3 on the number field 2 4 5 6. Now when I click on add, it says 1 2 3 4 5 6, that too part of separate controllers. Well, all the logic with the help of one text form field only without mishandling anything on the UI. That's exactly the objective that we intend to develop and hence we are outright there. Next, what I want to improvise upon is they both show enter number 1. Let's try having an hint text, or let's say field hint text. So what is this field hint text? This is yet another required variable which would be going inside the hint text. Now over here I'll take this name parameters to new line, put the field hint text as enter number 1. Secondly, I'll put the field hint text to be enter number 2, and then when I do a hot reload, they eventually switch and shows these new hint inside the box. Now things are going to be pretty much straightforward from here. That's because over here we have the text. So I'm going to take an integer number 1. So I'll take int.parse, that would basically convert my string into an integer. So basically, when it comes to programming, we guys are humans and we kind of understand that if we are typing over here 1, 2, 3, then basically they are digits. But for the text form field, it's kind of a bit dumb to understand 1, 2, 3, 4 is digits, and it will still consider it to be a string. Hence, what do we have to do is parse it along with int.parse and convert to number 1. In that case, let me try doing it for the next number 2. That is a number 2 controller, following which I can do number 1 plus number 2 and then print the answer. If I'm able to do so for one particular button, I can try and duplicate the logic and do it for all the buttons, correct? Let's try and see if I'm able to see my answer onto the logs. I'll put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and click on add. And yes, I'm quite happy to see that we are able to get the answer onto the logs. What it means is now I can try having, let's say, a double answer with 0.0. That being said, I can actually make my calculator have decimal calculations also. So what I'll try and do is change this to double and I'll change it at every point, and then once we do the entire calculation in the text, I will be showing this answer. So let me try adding a style that basically has my entire answer to be having a bigger font size. I'll put over here a comma and then do a hot reload. I can even try putting this to left align by using the align widget, and I'll say alignment dot center left. Yeah, now when I try to do any calculation, I'll be able to demonstrate and also update the answer on the UI. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and when I click on add, wait. Did you notice in order to update the UI, we actually need a stateful widget? So let's dive into the next session wherein we will be having our stateful widget to do the entire calculation and also display on the UI. Hopefully the common text form field now kind of makes sense to you, as because we have put the text editing controller and the hint text to be different, but the entire code for the text form field remains same. Well, that's exactly how even any other app that is professionally designed would be done. Coming to the stateless widget part, what we are going to try and do in the next session is getting converted to a stateful one. In fact, in the next session, you'll also see how we can make even a way much more optimized code for the calculator app to be there. So stay tuned and keep learning with Hoping Minds.